Introduce Mel Carson from Majestic SEO.
Hello, good morning. I'm going to talk about loving links beyond SEO. I'm not an SEO. I'm not smart enough. All the stuff that Vincent was talking about, absolutely amazing. A lot of the sessions I've been to, amazing. I joined Majestic last year simply to talk about other stuff that we can do with data. Majestic is very impressive, as you'll see, amount of data within their servers stashed in the north of England. For those of you that don't know, Majestic actually provides the backlink data for BrightEdge. BrightEdge users are the smartest marketers in the world because BrightEdge is our biggest customer and by far the biggest user of our data. So we're very excited to be asked back here to talk to you, to give you a little bit of insight on my kind of perspective on how you can use links a little bit more creatively. My background, I was at Microsoft for 7 years. Had an absolutely marvelous time working there within the search business, primarily PPC. Back then, live search as it was, and MSN only had about 5% market share, and smart marketers like Jim Brigden, when he was at the SearchWorks, always kept an eye on a company like Microsoft because they were always up to something good. Now with 30% market share, I really don't think you can call yourself a digital marketer in search if you don't have an eye on what's going on at Microsoft and Bing. I left there last year and set up my own consultancy where I focus on social media strategy, digital PR, and personal branding. And I also wrote a book, Pioneers of Digital. Amazon, in their wisdom, they've got a very strange system on there. We dropped the price for a little flash sale on Kindle to 99 cents. We can't put it back up again for some reason. They've changed their algorithm and they've dropped it to 79 cents. So it's an absolute bargain. Jim Yu is not in there yet, although we may have Pioneers of Digital too, and certainly have some of the BrightEdge folks in there for the amazing stuff that they've been doing on the internet. A little background about Majestic SEO, it's a link intelligence tool. The reason why I love Majestic is it's a very small company, but they have very big ideas about big data. If this year, the buzzword is all about content marketing. Last year it was all about big data, which always made me laugh because we've always had a lot of data. We've just got much more of it than we did before. But what Majestic is the custodians of a lot of linked data. So it's a privately owned search engine, if you like. It crawls 4 billion URLs a day. Has over 4.5 trillion URLs. So it knows who links to who on the website. On the internet. It's not good enough knowing who links to who unless you can use that data and it's actionable. So there's a little metric that we put on there, and I'll give you some examples about how people are using it. But really, SEOs use it for traditional link building, but also link pruning now with the penguins and pandas of this world. But I've been talking more about how you can use it more creatively for things like digital PR, influencer discovery, and content marketing. So we believe links are very much about relationships. This, at first glance, looks like some kind of sitemap. Following on from Jim's presentation yesterday, it is actually the royal family tree. Dating back to Queen Victoria, right at the top there, all the way down to, where are they? Prince William here. I actually tweeted at the British monarchy, I think. It's the this is from the royal.gov UK website. It's actually missing Kate and George on the royal family tree that they've got on their website. I did tweet back at them and say, oi, you need to change this. I didn't get a response. Somebody's probably writing a royal warrant for me to have my head cut off the next time I arrive at Heathrow. But links are very much about relationships. We think about them in terms of data and HTML and all that kind of stuff. But, the web is about people. People create websites. People create content. Social media is all about relationships and engagement between people. I'm very glad that you were awake when I said good morning, because most people go, oh, no. You know, it is about engagement and about having those real relationships with people. I like to say at conferences like this, I'm social media. You're social media. Because I'm up here talking to you, you're at a business conference, you're here to talk about your business and to learn and to understand. We're both being social. We're both being social in a relationship, in a one-to-one environment. And then I might take your business card, or I might follow you on Twitter, or hook up with you on, not hook up, that means something different over here. Sync up with you on LinkedIn. And then you take those relationships online for later on until, we see each other at another conference later on down the line. So links are about relationships. The products within Majestic SEO or the tools, it's a very, very simple interface. That's why it's so easy, and we make it so easy for other businesses to use the APIs. And there has been some feedback that it doesn't look sexy and there aren't bells and whistles flying all over the thing. But at the end of the day, you guys just want to go in, get the data, and then go on and build that relationship. So as an example, Quark Expeditions, dream client of mine, they do polar adventures. They'll take you for $6,000 to $30,000. They'll take you from Tierra del Fuego in a boat down to the South Pole, and there's more polar bears and penguins than you can shake a stick at down there. And it's just a kind of dream client from, if you can imagine the types of content, the types of video, Google Hangouts from the North Pole, that kind of thing. Really, really fascinating. And what I did for them was a kind of competitor analysis, and this is the tool up here. Very simple, you just stick in the URL, and then it tells you how many external backlinks, referring domains, and then a bunch of other data. The important thing is around the metrics around citation flow and trust flow. Citation flow is the authority of that particular link because of cool authoritative sites that are linking to it, and trust flow because there are naughty black cat type people out there that might have authority but not a lot of trust because there's not people actually linking to them. So they do a reverse lookup against the top 100,000 websites to see whether real people actually follow those links. Because at the end of the day, you want people to click on it, visit your site, buy your product, etc., etc. So the flow metrics, I put this little thing up there. I actually typed into, it was Bing images, babbling brook, because that's the only way I could think of explaining flow metrics, that they kind of use a decaying algorithm. So anything more authoritative further upstream, you're still going to see it as websites link to other websites and link to other websites. But then, inspired by Jim yesterday bringing up the royal family, I thought it's a bit like this, really. You got Queen Victoria. She's passing on her genes to a few people, to the Queen, who are passing on their genes to a few people, down to Prince George. So that kind of authority, those genes, that personality, if you like, flows down through the metrics and the websites a little bit like that. Vincent talked about competitor analysis. This, fantastic for doing that. Not a very good screenshot for showing on a big screen, but you can see here that that you can immediately compare competitors to see how you're doing from a flow metric and from they call it the link profile fight. I just threw these things into Excel, and here it kind of spits it out and says, you've got referring domains, the authority. And then what's interesting here, is especially having clients, is I like to give them a lot of confidence rather than going in there and saying what they're doing wrong. What they're doing right. They've got half as many backlinks as a lot of their competitors, but they're very on par as far as the flow metric analysis, which means that they've got a good basis for going forward after that. What's interesting, though, is where we get creative with the data, because we provide a link map. Most of Quark's expeditions are sold to people in the US. Loads and loads and loads of people in the US. But they get a lot of links from over in the UK and over there in Asia and a few down in Australia. So then that immediately tells me that maybe there's something going on with their marketing, that maybe they need to set up some alternative sites, or maybe they need to get in contact with some of those people that are linking to them to talk to them about more creative ways to get more people from the UK and Europe, because there's obviously some kind of interest there, buying their expeditions. So very simply, from a digital PR perspective, download the links, export them, sort them, search for the word blog, and there are the top 10, top 9 websites based on their citation and trust flow. These are guys that you can approach and then talk about some really good content marketing opportunities. And you can do that the same with with the competitor sites as well. Someone wanted to see what a bad link profile looks like. You know, this one here is for some dodgy Viagra site that one client came to us on a booth and said, my site's not ranking, and we had a little look, and of course down there, it's got high authority at 58, that is actually pretty high, but a low trust flow. That's what kind of a bad link profile looks like. And you can see here, with the same URL, our marketing director, Dixon Jones, has a great sense of humor and sent me this. The URL's actually hemorrhoid treatment blog. You can see here that immediately there's something dodgy going on, 22,500 external backlinks and then very few from the others. So just that little snapshot, you can see immediately that there's something dodgy going on. I did a presentation in Dallas with this, and I kept on using the word dodgy, and somebody afterwards tweeted, the best thing about Mel's presentation was his accent and his use of the word dodgy. I hope that you're getting a little bit more out of this presentation than just that, but I still like the word dodgy. And here you go, there's no links, a couple of links, and then boom, suddenly off it goes. So that's how you can tell a bad link profile. So more on digital PR. Who here is not among the 10 million people that has seen the Dollar Shave Club video? Everybody seen it? You've not seen it? Oh my word. Hilarious piece of PR, only cost $5,000, should have cost $60,000. But this guy, the CEO, Michael Dubin, knows a lot of filmmakers down in LA, and they put together this thing which was just awesome, and his whole premise was about being unexpected, and he certainly was, and he got a lot of PR out of it, and 10 million people have seen the video. Now, why is that interesting? Because maybe I want to start a competitor product, or maybe he might be thinking of expanding his business somewhere else and wondering where to go. So what do? You can actually put a YouTube link into Majestic. In it goes, 27,500 backlinks from over 1,000 referring domains. Pretty high citation trust flow. Amazing. Why is that interesting? Because I, as a PR guy, can try and find the sorts of people that are actually linking to that video who think it's funny and find out what they're saying about it. A bit like listening on social media. So we throw this in there, and look at this. Loads of people linking from the US, but loads and loads of links from the UK and Europe. So what does that tell me? There's a lot of interest over in Europe. Maybe he should start, actually, as a Brit, the expense of the shave tech, as Michael calls it, especially over in the UK, is very annoying. And so I'm sure that they would be very successful if they opened up over there. But, there's one guy that shaves in Russia. Maybe that's a potential for getting the video and translating it into Russian or something like that. So, just by having a look at the map, you can suddenly get creative about a lot of the opportunities that are out there. Again, I did the same, look up, blog, blah, 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 and here are the top 10 blogs that are actually linking it based on the citation flow. And interestingly, if you look there, you've got Marketing Blogger, Moz.com, Jeff Bullis, and Unruly Media. They are all, and Marketing Mag. They're all marketing folks. So when you've got, something cool that you're pushing out there, and you think it's consumer focused and not trade focused, if it's that cool, try and get some kind of case study or whatnot with the trade magazines and some of the trade bloggers, because they know what they're doing when it comes to the internet and link building, and so you could get some good authority out of them too. Other creative ways, this is something from Dixon that he was playing around with. These are the trade and industry sites for Johannesburg and China. Great sites, all about trying to attract investment to those particular countries and those particular places. When you you compare the geographies in there, China wins hands down with nearly 1 million backlinks compared to well over 10 times amount of Joburg. So they kind of win. But do they win when you actually look here at the profile fight and actually see that, Joburg does actually have some strength in its links? And then when you move to the geography, the map, again, this is for the Chinese site, all the links to it are actually coming from China. You would have thought that if you're trying to attract investment, you should be sending the site elsewhere, so other people are linking to it from other countries because they then want to invest in China. What happens conversely over here with South Africa is, yes, there are a few links from South Africa, but there are from Asia and America and Europe as well. So they're getting links from outside the countries pointing to their site saying, you should, if you want to invest in South Africa, now's the time to do it, and here's the resources to do it. So again, those kind of competitive analysis, those kind of lookups, and just looking beyond the simple amount of links, and maybe even the trust and citation flow associated, but just looking at the mapping, can throw up and tell different stories about where you should be building relationships. Again, this was done a few months, not a few months ago, just last year. It's not scientific by any means, but it's just interesting data that Boris Johnson got by far the most links to his site to become London Mayor compared to Ken Livingstone, and the same for the French president as well. I'd like to delve deeper into that to see what actually happened there. But it might be the more PR you get, the more links. But obviously then there's negative PR associated with that. So there could be some interesting stuff to think about with social signals and sentiment as well. But again, just again, an interesting way to think about links. So just wrapping up, Majestic and link data, it's not just for SEO. If you want to be the crown jewel in your marketing department, you like that? You see what I did there? Think about links beyond SEO. I spend a lot of time at Microsoft, and now with other clients, it's this thing. Oh, over there, it's too complicated. They don't even know what it stands for, and it's HTML, and oh, that's for other geeky people. It's not actually. It's actually very, very crucial for your entire team to understand. Like the guy yesterday talking about, we shouldn't be talking about digital marketing. We should be talking about marketing in the digital world. If your whole teams aren't educated, just take the word SEO away, and you can say, look, by using this kind of data, you can discover new influencers. You can use it for digital PR. You can use it for spotting commercial opportunities. You can use it for uncovering geographies that you never even thought or heard about that you might be trading in, and getting a leap and a bound above your competition. And I'll throw it out there, if anyone wants to work with us on this, it could help predicting stuff as well. So with that, I'll open up, I think, for questions, but I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you.